Okay, let's try this 10b now. Hey, I did not go back and review this. I'm just going to try to do it from memory and try to work with it, so bear with me. So we're doing a sign diagram. And the first thing I'm going to look at this, I'm like, okay, definitely want to get this bottom of the fraction factored out so we can find the the key points, the like tipping points, the 0 points, if you will. So let's off the top of our head, I'm going to try to revert, what do we call that, skeleton method it, reverse FOIL, whatever you want to call it. So I know it's x and x, I know it's a 4, and everything is positive, so this looks like x plus 2, so let me double check that. 2 times 2 is 4, that gives me the 4. 2x and 2x, that gives me the 4x, so that's good. So we know that when we factor it, it looks like that. Now I'm trying to remember, there's like, I'm going to have to think out loud. So I remember with the sign diagram, like we're imagining what the function does as it travels through the as you graph it, basically. So I know like one key point is going to be positive 3. I think that's like wasn't it like a 4-step process? I know, yeah. Like first, I think you go to the numerator first. You find out when the numerator is 0. So the numerator is 0 when x is 3. I'm going to put a little 0 here. I'm trying to remember. I think it works better if we put the numbers on the bottom. And then when x is 3, that's a key point. When x is 3, the function is actually right at 0. It's like a 0. So I'm going to just kind of like make that line. And then I think the next thing is the asymptotes. So this has an asymptote at -2. It's really both, -2 and -2, because we can't let the denominator be 0. So -2 and -2, that's going to be an asymptote. So that way, that means like, that's where we put that dotted line. Now, so to the left, I think there you just pick point. You just pick like a number and try it. So like right in between this zone, between -2 and 3, the sign should be all the same. Pretty sure about that. So let's just pick a number like 0. So when you put in, oh my God, when you put 0 in, you're going to have -3 on top, and on the bottom you're going to have 2 plus 2, or 2 times 2 is 4. So you're going to have a negative number. So in here it's going to be negative. And I think we could just to check it, we could put any number at all. Put in like 2. 2 minus 3 is going to be a -1. 2 and 2 is positive. So yeah, that would be the same thing. And if you just go to the left is 0, put in a -3, or I'm sorry, like a -1, like right here. Well, think about that. -1 minus 3 on top. And in the bottom you have -1 plus 2, which is a positive number, and -1 plus 2. So once again, you're always going to have negative numbers. So the sign chart is going to be negative between -2 and 3. This whole area, I'm just going to shade it in yellow. It's all negative. Now at 3 itself, it's 0. So most likely, it's going to be positive on the other side. Because if you think about the graph, most likely the graph comes at 3 and then it crosses. Well, we'll see. So pick a number like 10. When you put in 10, 10 minus 3 is 7, so that's positive. And the bottom, 10 plus 2 is 12, and 10 plus 2 is 12. So if you put in 10, you're going to have 7 on top, 12 times 12 on the bottom. So that's a positive number. So that's positive, so it's good. And then on the left, let's see what happens to the left of -2. Let's put in like -10. Well, -10 and -3 is -13. And then -10 and 2 is -8, and -8. Well, a negative and a negative is a positive, whatever that is, positive 64, and -13. So when I divide that, the answer is going to be negative. So it's going to be negative to the left. So that's the sign chart. And the sign chart really is just like the first step. So it's going to be negative. There's going to have an asymptote at -2. It's going to have no sign at all. You can't even use -2. And then it's going to be negative and positive. And then the further step is to actually start to visualize what that graph looks like. But for this problem, you don't have to do that. So that should be hopefully good for that. You need more help, let me know.